Page 26, blessings. Again, this is in 4/4 time. Key of C major, no sharps or flats, except for the accidentals they put in. That'll be fun. Let's take it one hand at a time. Again, it's this rhythm. Be careful with the rhythm. And I challenge you to try and figure out this rhythm on your own before listening to me or anybody else, to see if you can figure it out and get it, because it's so important that you be able to do that. However, we'll pretend you've already done that. Now we'll see what I can do. Right hand at the beginning. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And see all these tied notes, you just hang on to the note, then come down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. See that B on that? That's on the end of 3. Isn't that lovely? Again, the third measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And then lift up and come down. And then the third measure, that chord, that is a G, an A, and a C. They're saying 2, 3, 5, that's fine. I do 1, 2, 4. We'll see what happens. Because in the end, the last measure, that line, the quarter notes, it's the same notes, one at a time, and then going on. Now they're saying third line down is thumb. If you're playing the G with the thumb, you got to use second finger there. But this is the tricky part. Be careful here because we've got tied notes. So let's go to their fingering to figure out the notes here. We got 1 and 2 and 3. See, the D is tied. You don't play it again, but you add the B to it. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and like so, 4 and 1. And again, the D is tied and you add the C to it. You hold the C down, it's a whole note while you play the E. So this is good because it gives you some exercise at control. Which fingers are down win. So again, third line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Then third measure over, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You get some more of that on the next line, just watch it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's actually, for the most part, what this is doing. It's just tricky on the rhythm. Over on page 27, we got a bunch more of this. Let's go to the bottom of the page, the last line. You're here, you're hanging over from before, and then on beat 4, you get it again. 1. Remember, you're playing the C again, and then the fourth beat of the second measure, 4, and then here. You hold the F down when you play the half note, and then hold it down when you play the E. Then on page 28, you're here. Go down to the second line on page 28 is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then hold the D down while you play the B in the next measure. Like so, and then you can lift, so we get a little silence, it's a new phrase. Bring out the top note if you can't. So to start on the second line there on page 28, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and it's just, yeah, if you're counting real carefully, this rhythm will come. If you're not, you're lost. But this is so important you be able to get these rhythms. Starting with the chorus. So that's the last measure of the second line. You're here, it's tied over from before, then the eighth note's on beat 2. Watch the fingering, their fingering is fine. So it's 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 3 and so forth. And it's just top of page 29, second measure, rest and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Now here they're saying third finger here. I don't like that at all because I want it connected. If I do a 2 and 5, I can't do third finger here. That doesn't work. So what am I going to do? Well, I recommend on the third measure I would do a 1 on the E and then come across with a 2. And I'm in position. So for, again, the top of page 29, starting second measure, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Like so. Second line, third measure, you're here, and then thumb. 1. And then you'd repeat back over to the other page. However, let's go on. This is the third line down, starting with the bridge. It's the third measure. You're here. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Last line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and. Now, I don't know how much help the left hand's going to be here, although it's playing on the beats. So the right hand keeps playing on the F, in between the beats to give it all that syncopation. On page 30, at the top, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2. And then go down to the coda. That's the fourth line down. You're here. And this is just a coda is like a tag on the end of it. The piece ends with the word. When that's over, you're done. Ends with a question. And then you go, and the rhythm at this point is the same. And then the last line, the last two measures, you're up here. And then a bass clef for the last notes. You come down and get the E. Left hand is just supporting, so keep the left hand soft. And hopefully the left hand can sort of act like a metronome for you to keep you in check. So it's just, you have treble clef at the beginning, you're up here. I'm going to do here, and then here, and then here, the third measure, or second measure, hold the B down, it's a hold, and second finger, if you can, and now bass clef. Second line, third measure, you're here, the F is tied, hang on to it, and then here. So just follow carefully in the left. I don't know that I need to spoon feed you this whole thing. You can read the notes, hopefully you can. If you can't, this book is not for you, really. Page 27, second line, second measure, you're here. And I recommend on the quarter note B, the last beat, use second finger. So you can go here. The pedal will help us connect all this together, so don't worry about that. Last measure on page 27, that G is tied. So hang on to it while you play the D. Just add the D to it is all. On page 29, third line down, second measure. Look out, you got whole notes, you're going to hold them down. And those two half notes you're going to play while you're holding them down. So it's here. Just play the E, hold the others down, like so, and then you can lift up and go on. Now, as I said, the left hand is soft because it's all background. However, they threw you a curve. They like to do that. On page 29 at the bottom, the last note, that's C, that's melody. However loud you're playing the melody in the right hand, you got to play that one note in the left hand the same loudness. So it's soft. So that last measure, you're soft, soft. Now, bring out the C for one note, and then you go back to being soft. On page 30, third line down, again, the first note you play is tied, so you can hang on to it to the whole measure. Here, and then the F, hold on, and then the G, hold on, for the whole thing, and then it's pretty straightforward there for the rest of it, I think. So you get it one hand at a time with the fingering and the rhythm and get that worked out as best you can, and we attempt to put the hands together slowly. So at the beginning on page 26, we're here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and. Second line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2. Then the verse starts, 1 and 2 and 3. Now, just once you get a hang on it, I may be throwing too much at one time, but I'm saying bring out the melody. That's the top note. This other note's in the right hand. That's part of the chord that the left hand is playing. So you got to play at the same loudness as the left hand. So you're playing that's and then B softly, same as here, and then here the C soft. It's all part of the same chord. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 1 and 2 and 3. Page 27, third line down, last measure, look out. 1 and 2 and 3 and that's tied. The 8th note is tied, so watch out. So again, the last measure, the third line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. And then the last measure, 1 and 2 and, the F and the G are tied. You just add the two middle notes softly. Like so. So it's 1 and 2 and, like so. And now we're page 28. 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2. Last line on page 28, look out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. 1 and 2 and 2, 3 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I need to repeat that. Going on, there's a bridge there. The last couple lines, or line and a half on page 29, you see after the second ending, it's here. 1 and 2. its melody. And then on page 30, it's 1 and 2 and 3. 2, 3. Now, page 30, second line, last two measures. The G is held down all the way across, two whole notes tied together. So hold it down. So it's 2, and the rest of this is soft. That G that's tied is melody. That's what we want to hear. Everything else has to be under that. And then go on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1 and 2. And then the DS all coda. DS, you go back to the sign. The sign is on page 28. Second line, last measure. You see it right? That's the chorus. You go back to there and you play over to page 29, and second line on page 29, right before the first ending, you see to coda. You jump from there over to page 30 at the bottom to the coda, and then play the coda and finish it off there. Now, we need some pedal to help smooth this out a little bit, but we want to be careful not to blur it up too much. Basically, to keep it simple, I'm going to pedal for the most part every 2 beats, sort of with the left hand here. Again. Last 2 measures of the second line, I hold the pedal down for both measures. Then starting with the third line, approximately every 2 beats, just to keep it simple. Third line down on page 27, last measure on this. I changed the pedal right there. I want to lose all the stuff in the left hand. There's a rest, so it's here. Top of page 28. Across these, I'm pedaling once each measure because there's not a lot going on here. It's okay. So it's here. And then on the second line, second measure, lift the pedal up so these are by themselves. So it's starting with the first measure. It's here on the second line. Every 2 beats here. 1, 2, 3. Now we repeat back. Well, let's keep going right here. This is the third line, second measure. I don't know. We're down here somewhere. It's here. It's here. And in that second ending there on the third line, change the pedal every 2 beats with a half note. Last note on that page, lift the pedal up. You don't want it. We don't want any sound but that C. So just lift the pedal up. And you'll have to figure out how to do this page turn without messing it up. You may have to memorize part of it or leave something out somewhere to be able to keep going on making these page turns. Or you get somebody to turn the page for you, or you just memorize it. Page 30, we're here. Third line down, pedal with the measure. And then at the last measure, third line, don't pedal the eighth notes here. It's like it was before when you go back to do the chorus again. Then the coda, we're here, just pedal with the eighth note, or with the half notes. Pedal down through the last measure, and the pedals and the hands and everything all comes up together, like so. Let's go through this very slowly to check the notes and the rhythms. I'm just going to do it. I'm not doing the page turns, or I'm not doing all the repeats and all that. Just straight through it one time. So we do pages 26 and 27. Stop. Turn the page. I count us in. We'll do pages 28 and 29. Stop. Turn the page. I count us in, and we'll do page 30 all the way down, just straight down. It'll sound a little weird, but that's all right. Let's just sound weird for a bit. So I'll give us 4 counts, and let's try it slowly together. 1 and 2 and ready and go, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 3 and 4 2 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and turn the page. 1, 2, ready and go, and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 3 and go on to the next measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Turn the page. 1 and 2 and ready and go and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Let's go to the coda here. 1 and 2 and ready and go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and hold and 2